Today's conversation is on how you can, right now, access whatever it is that you desire without any technique, without any helper to give it to you, without any middleman. This is how you can have what you desire, the direct path to that love, that happiness, that peace, that bliss, that fulfillment that you desire. The direct path, or we could say no path, as there's no separation. This is what I would like to explore with you today. Before we continue, I would like to announce that I'm going to be running some meetups, one in New York City at the end of May 23rd, and then also the 25th in Houston, Texas, coming up, and then the 30th, the following week, in Los Angeles area, and then on the 31st in San Diego. If you're interested in attending one of these events, or you would like to know more about these events, I'll put a link in the description to a page with a video of me discussing about these events. And if you're interested, I look forward to meeting you at one of the events, or all of the events. Totally up to you. So consider that what you have been seeking for your entire life, you already are that. Now, this might be confusing to the mind, particularly. I am not confused. In mind, the person in mind, which is an illusory person, if identified with, which is that persona or that personal identity that may be relating to this world from the faulty premise, not the sure foundation, that a condition or an appearance needs to appear a particular way. This person needs to appear. This circumstance needs to appear. This information needs to appear. This or that needs to appear in order to experience what they truly desire, which is that eternal love, that eternal peace, that eternal bliss, that eternal fulfillment, that eternal happiness, the infinite love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. The person in mind is placing conditions upon consciousness. That is what we refer to as the ignorant I, not the real I, the ignorant I, that thinks if this appearance or this person or this condition or this environment or whatever is not there, then they lack love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And that is illusory. That is illusory because the real I springs from the sure foundation of infinite love, infinite happiness, infinite peace, infinite bliss, infinite fulfillment, and thus I do not need to place conditions upon consciousness to experience the fruits of creation. The fruits of creation, the love, the happiness, the peace, the bliss, the fulfillment, whatsoever things ye desire, the promises of God can be allowed to be added onto me in flow. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things are added onto you, the fruits of creation. I came here to experience the fruits of creation. You came here to experience whatsoever things ye desire, the fruits of creation. So I, having the experience of the promise of God, you having the experience of the promise of God, and by that it is meant very specifically, as I no longer identify or acknowledge more specifically that I am beyond identification to this world, the thoughts, the emotions, the appearances, needing it to be this way or that way, which are beliefs. They're dichotomous beliefs that suggest it needs to appear this way in order to experience love. And if it doesn't appear this way, then I don't experience love. that is illusory. The individual imagining to be separate from the source, imagining conditions to be placed upon consciousness in order to experiences suffering if those conditions do not appear to be here. Now, having found the kingdom within, and we'll go through exactly how you can find the kingdom within. No special technique is required. It doesn't need to take days and weeks and months. You can access that still I am presence and abide as that still I am presence. And what permeates the mind and body is that infinite love, that infinite peace, that infinite bliss, that infinite happiness, that infinite fulfillment, which represents everything that you desire, everything that you were seeking for in your entire existence here is found inwardly in that still I am presence. I trust you've experienced this. This is not new to you. Now, as you remain abiding in that still I am presence, body appears to flow. So it's not necessarily I sit still here, abiding in that still I am presence. I can do that. I can sit still here, be still physically. I can be still here. You can physically be still here. And having acknowledged that I come from somewhere, I spring from somewhere, I spring from somewhere. How do you do that? Because there's a space between I and the thought. I can think this, I can think that, yet who am I? Who am I? Now what's interesting, as we inquire into the source of I, that the old man in the Bible, the I that is identified with separation, the I that has been placing these conditions upon consciousness in mind, the I that seems to suggest lack of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, dissolves into pure consciousness, which is the true I, the real I. And as I remain as I am, pure consciousness is bliss, Satchit Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. Therefore, I know that I am bliss. Therefore, I know I am love. I am peace, I am happiness, because those are great pointer words that describe the experience as I dissolve or I relax into the being I am. And what happens then is body appears to flow, everything appears to flow to be in harmony. The fruits of creation, whatsoever things you desire. For the Father knows before you ask, as stated in Matthew 6:8. For the Father knows before you ask. I can ask for this, I can ask for that. Yet I know that I am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, all these things that I once desired. And I witnessed them. You witnessed them. Added on to you. Spontaneously, they're added on to you. Spontaneously. Ideal harmonious relationships, ideal harmonious business, ideal harmonious life experiences, spontaneously they arise. So that's why I may refer to this as no path or direct path, because all that is being discussed here is there is no separation between you and the source of infinite love, infinite peace, infinite bliss, infinite happiness, infinite fulfillment. I simply relax. I simply can be still. I simply can experience that still I am presence that transcends all appearances, which includes the appearances of the thoughts, the appearances of the mind, the appearances of the mental phenomena, the appearances of emotions. I transcend that mind. I return back to the source, and then the true I arises. The true I emerges and can experience life clearly, can experience no separation. How do I know that there is no separation? Well, conflicts seem to dissolve. Confusion in mind seems to dissolve. Spontaneously, all these things are added onto me. I can describe the experience as being in flow. I am still, yet body appears to flow. Love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, all these things spontaneously added onto me. So, in other words, I did not need to do this or do that, do this technique or that technique. No technique is required. What technique is there in between I and I am? That infinite peace, that infinite bliss, that infinite love, that infinite fulfillment, that infinite happiness is here now. That is the realist experience of fundamental reality, which is perfect as it is now. Thus, you are perfect as you are now. You arise from, I spring forth, you spring forth, everything springs forth from the sure foundation. That which every individual was seeking for their whole life is found in that still I am presence. Still I am, regardless of appearances. Still I am beyond these appearances. Thus, what need is there to place conditions upon consciousness, as pure consciousness is perfect as it is now? Satchit Ananda, existence consciousness bliss, existence consciousness peace, existence consciousness joy, existence consciousness fulfillment, existence consciousness love, existence consciousness happiness. We could say joy of simply existing, the love of simply existing, the love of simply being, the happiness of simply being, the realest of experiences, being childlike again, born again, arising from the sure foundation, having the mind kissed by God, the sure foundation. I relax into knowing that I am. Not replacing one thought with another thought. That might not be from the premise of the individual really thinking for thyself, because they may replace one condition with another condition, one thought with another thought, without acknowledging who they are. Because if they allow that love, that happiness, the peace, the bliss, the fulfillment to permeate the mind, to permeate the body, then they can really think for themselves clearly and accurately, because they know who they are. If they don't know who they are, then we can call that the ignorant I. No shame, no condemnation. The ignorant I is not the real I. The ignorant I continues to identify with the matrix programming in mind that continues to seek outwardly for that which the real I is inwardly. You can see why it's illusory. That's why I say it's illusory to suggest you lack. It's illusory to suggest that you are not who you desire to be. It is illusory to suggest you lack love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. All these things, whatsoever things ye desire, it is illusory to suggest that you lack. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So what happens then is I shall not want is a lived experience. The individual flows. They no longer need approval, validation, or confirmation based on an appearance. thought, emotion, world, people, environment, circumstance, information, they no longer identify. There is no identification. I am beyond identification. I may identify with this or that, yet who am I? I spring from the sure foundation beyond identification, as only God alone exists. In love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, and only God alone appears to animate all. What is that infinite power, that infinite wisdom that brings people together? What is it that is that infinite love, that infinite wisdom, that infinite peace, that infinite bliss that is actually bringing forth? We teach this in entrepreneurship. I recommend my new channel. I'll link in the description to it, where we go into the nuances of entrepreneurship, having built 3 successful businesses and being an entrepreneur full-time since 2009. All those things added on to me in a fun, joyous, effortless, love-based, happiness-based, peace-based, fulfilling-based way, as that is reality. How do all these things get added onto me? How do all these things get added onto you? How do we meet in perfect love, perfect happiness, perfect peace, perfect bliss, perfect fulfillment, in ways that I might not know of? So I no longer need to interfere with this, because this is the play of God, perfect as it is now. Thus you are perfect as you are now. I am perfect as we are now. We relate harmoniously as we are perfect as we are now. We are perfect love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. As these conditions are released, as mind is purified from the illusory thinking that suggests I versus another I versus another I, that's illusory. There is no I versus I. We could say I with I. And if we say I with I, then we can say that only God alone exists, because every I springs from the sure foundation of infinite love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment that brings people together. It is only the I that could add illusions of separation-based conditioning in mind, dissolve that conditioning. It's not real. Reality is perfect as it is now. You are perfect as you are now. So, what do? I do nothing, actually. I relax into being as I am, to be one with the Father, practically speaking. And then love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment permeates the mind, permeates the body, as we've been discussing. God kisses the mind, and you know certainly that eternal love, that eternal peace, that eternal bliss, that eternal fulfillment is real. This is not theory and conjecture. You don't pretend to be, fake to be, try to be love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. You are love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And I choose not to put limitations on love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, because the experience can be described as profound, infinite, beyond comprehension. Although I may articulate it, this is what artists do. This is what those that are poets do, or articulate what their experience of God is, informed through words, through poetry. Yet the words, the poetry is not creatively expressed to limit the infinite one, to limit the degree of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Rather, it is a creative expression of the realist experience, as reality is perfect as it is now. So one individual may paint that. What does that look like? How can I capture even some of that into a painting? So another person may articulate stories, metaphors. Another person may talk about it in a way which sounds, let's say, very spiritual sounding. Another person may creatively express it in their business. Another person may creatively express it in their relationships. Yet, as they creatively express it, they acknowledge the source being infinite love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And whatsoever things ye desire, whatsoever things they desire, whether it be love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, that I am, I return to that still I am presence. That's it. What do? I return to that still I am presence. And as I abide as that still I am presence, I remain in that still I am presence. Practically speaking, if there was a experience in life where I once thought of it as being a flow restrictor experience or a flow restrictor person or a flow restrictor environment, I no longer relate to that environment, that person, that information, that experience that way. I no longer relate to them that way, not because I'm pretending to relate to them in a way of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Not because I think of them in a way that implies love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Not because I imagine them in a particular way to represent love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment for no reason. Not because of this or that emotion. Not because of this or that thought. No reason. Spontaneous love. Spontaneous peace. Spontaneous happiness. And the relationships appear to transform, we could say. Why do I say they appear to transform? Because they did not appear that way to me before. They appear to me before in a way that I thought, which is an I thought, that there was no love here, no peace here, no bliss here. God permeates all. There's only God. Only God alone exists. So, at any moment, practically speaking, the individual can see, experience where the love is, where the peace is, where the bliss is, where the fulfillment is, where the happiness is, because they're not running it through a belief of limitation in mind. They're not filtering it through a belief of limitation in mind from which they look for confirmation bias, because that is the illusory I. That is what the Bible refers to as the old man, and you are not the old man. You cannot be the old man. You are not the old man, as the old man is an illusory construct in mind. Prove it. Dissolve that illusory construct in mind by abiding as that still I am presence. That still I am presence that remains regardless of appearances. I may be here today, I may be there tomorrow, I may think this today, I may think that tomorrow, I may flow here, I may be, as mentioned, in New York, San Diego, Los Angeles, Houston, yet I remain the same as I am, not conditioned by the appearances. I remain in peace, I remain in love, I remain in happiness, I remain in bliss, I remain in fulfillment, because I know that I am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, existence, consciousness, bliss. It is not because of this appearance or this thought or that thought. That kind of thinking belongs to what the Bible refers to as the old man. The old man that is illusory, placing conditions upon consciousness in order to experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And paradoxically, as that old man dissolves, the real man, the true I, emerges and experiences the fruits of creation. This is not new to you, what we're talking about here. I trust you have not only experienced this, but you continue to experience this on a continuous basis with increasing frequency, on a continuous basis as far as the senses perceive. This has been the conversations that I've been having with members of Flow-Based Prosperity, my group coaching and mastermind service, friends, family, which brings up a great point. I'm having these conversations with family members now, and before I thought, which again is an I thought that it was not possible with these family members. It was not possible with these particular groups of people, with these particular friends, yet those friends, those family members are engaging in this exact conversation with me. Now, they may say it differently, yet they point to the same truth that only God alone exists. They point to the same truth that existence is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. It emerges in the conversation. It naturally emerges in the conversation. As I no longer identify with those illusory thoughts, the real I emerges. As mentioned, I rise from the sure foundation, having God kiss the mind with that eternal love, that eternal peace, that eternal bliss, that eternal happiness, that eternal fulfillment. I know certainly, you know certainly, there is no greater love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment than what is experienced unconditionally in that still I am presence. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment with people, with environment, with circumstance, with information. I do. I continue to. Yet the experience can be described as not because of this or that reason. The experience can be described as spontaneously I do. All these things I desire added onto me is another way of articulating it. Another way of articulating it, I like this one, is the fruits of creation. The promises of God added onto me. And we can do this by doing nothing, actually. How do you access that still I am presence? You can do nothing to access that still I am presence. You can, if you would like, do this, do that, add this, add that, yet inevitably you realize that those things to do, not do, etc., are not required. That is what we can call the direct path. That still I am presence is here. Practically speaking, if the individual is experiencing conflict with another person, or in entrepreneurship, let's say they experience confusion in mind, they know that still I am presence is clarity. They access that still I am presence. Maybe they were identified in mind with this thought versus that thought, this person versus that person, this information versus that information. They transcend that in the moment. They transcend the mind, because they do transcend the mind. You transcend the mind. You have a mind, you have a body, you have appearances appearing to you, yet you transcend them. Because all of these appearances can appear to change. Some of them appear and disappear. Some of them appear to disappear, as I say. Yet you remain the same. So I inquire deeper, rather than replacing one condition with another condition, which, as mentioned, if I don't really think for myself, I may take out one limitation and then, without knowing who I am, put another condition in consciousness. And then, let's say, I get temporary relief if that condition appears. And then if it's no longer there now, suffering again. It's this walking on eggshells. I stop doing it. So I access clarity. We could say love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, you are. Clarity, you are. And as you access clarity, which is that still I am presence, abide as that still I am presence, the programming in mind dissolves. Body relaxes. Emotions flow. Thoughts appear and disappear. Body relaxes. And clear thinking emerges. You know what to do if it's a plan, or for an artist, if they're looking for inspiration, they can do nothing to access the infinite source of inspiration now. By accessing the source of clarity, the source of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, clarity, wisdom, infinite intelligence. By returning to the source, returning to that still I am presence, dissolving that illusory I. What do I have to lose? Nothing. I don't lose anything. what I gain is the fruits of creation. All these things added onto me. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things will be added onto you. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You could say, I seek first the kingdom within, and abide as that still I am presence, and acknowledge that all these things are added onto me as I experience that infinite love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, permeating body, permeating mind, and appearing to spread, to appear as the fruits of creation. I have realized the promise of God, the infinite bliss, the infinite love, the infinite happiness, the infinite peace, the infinite fulfillment that has been promised to me, that is accessible now experientially, thus appearing here as the eternal being I am.